So what are you guys' favorite
do
rock
it.
bands?
Who's starting me?
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
let Rob to start.
So my favorite rock band of all time. I don't know if this is gonna be as a bad choice, but Stained, the band Stained.
Stained is your favorite rock band
It's
of
my
all
favorite
time.
rock band.
Why? What about Stained gets to you?
Well, Aaron Lewis's voice and lyrics, I don't know, they cut deep with me. So I've always had that like connection, and I went and got all nerdy and got like their pre-record label albums and stuff, and I don't know, just always registered with me.
But what's their hit song? Like an example. I don't know
It's
who
been
this
a while.
is.
It's probably their biggest hit.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
That's Marcus doing his best Stained impersonation.
Yeah.
which is really
So
funny
good.
because they're one of those bands, and this kind of drives me nuts in bands in general.
Mm.
Their biggest hits are their ballads,
Yes.
and then you go pick up their album, and they have the two hits that are the ballads, and the rest is
Totally different.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're listening to a different band.
Yep.
Because their lead single is a completely different vibe
oh
from
yeah,
the rest of their album.
yeah. So
yeah.
so I'm a big fan of the undercard of the album, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, the other tracks, and not so much their hit tracks, but yeah, that I would say. Maybe in a disappointing choice, that's my choice.
All right, Allie, what about you?
This is a worse question for me. I love rock music, so this is really hard. But I like 90s Riot Girl music, like when girls are screaming and there's like angry guitars. And then I really like 70s punk.
Okay, so
Like Four Non Blondes and that type of music, or
No, Non-Blondes, like the What's Up song.
yeah.
No,
Well,
I
that's
hate
one
that.
song.
I wish I don't like that song. But like Babes in Toyland or like
Okay.
like L7,
okay.
stuff like that.
So as far as 70s punk,
Stiff Little Fingers. Yeah,
Black
LA
Flag,
stuff.
Circle Jerks,
Yeah, the
that kinda
Germs.
thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. X, good stuff.
Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, very different. I'm going to go with the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh yeah.
You can't go wrong, right?
No,
No.
yeah. Like aside from the musicianship, which is obvious and I have no need to argue, and if for some reason I do, then you're just wrong. But
right.
I really appreciate the songwriting. I think for its time, I think it was really powerful for black men to express those sentiments of power. So if you think back on like something like Voodoo Child, the lyric like "stand up next to a mountain, chop it down with the edge of my hand," like there's so much power in the statement that he was making, which doesn't reflect the power that he might have had in his own life. So I find that interesting, or I might be projecting, Lord only knows, but I find that interesting in the songwriting. Or like if 6 was 9
Yeah.
has an interesting
Yeah.
philosophical idea to it, like rain or shine, I'm gonna be here doing me regardless.
So I found out, I was watching a documentary on Jimi Hendrix one day, and the reason he did like playing guitar with his teeth and behind his back and guitar on fire and all that. So when he was trying to make his name through the small club scene, you literally had to do that kind of stuff as a black musician to play in the white populist clubs.
Yeah,
Like you had to be like extremely above normal. Just it wasn't good enough to just play a really masterful lick. You had
Yeah.
to do it like with your eyes closed, the guitar behind your back.
yeah, on fire.
On fire,
Yeah,
yeah.
you had to do something absolutely obnoxious to be recognized as a musician.
But he's
as
so
opposed to just doing
excellent.
it.
It's so crazy because if you hear his guitar, I mean, it really is some of the best guitar playing ever. It's so like on
It was
point.
also really unorthodox at the time.
yeah, and it's
It's got-
amazing.
Yeah, the time signatures are random. It's got like misplaced notes sometimes. It's real lo-fi in terms of like recording, and it was intended to be.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It was off the cuff. A lot of it was freeform.
Oh, for sure. When you played live, you never played the same thing twice.
And so I don't. It's kind of like when you watched
amazing.
Richard Pryor. If you watch a really early Richard Pryor special, the crowd isn't laughing because they don't know what's going on yet.
That's
They don't
great.
know where the punchlines are because like his format was so different and the way he was talking and what he was addressing was so different and confrontational that they didn't even know where to laugh yet. So it's almost like when watching Hendrix, they didn't quite know where the genius was yet. It was just so weird and out there. So I really like Hendrix. But that is a great segue into, I guess, Rami Malek's favorite rock band would be Queen, according to some of the interviews I've watched. But I'm pretty sure that's pandering.
Maybe bias.
Yeah, that's a little pandering. But a few of us went out and saw the Bohemian Rhapsody movie over the weekend, and we had similar opinions but varying impressions. Rob, did you get a chance to see it?
I did not see the movie, so I'll step out of this conversation and let you and Allie go at it.
Allie, you did though, right?
Oh yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought the cinematography was phenomenal. I did think the plot was sort of a plot we've seen a lot over time of, rock band and they get a big head, and I won't spoil anything else, but yeah, I mean, pretty good acting, and cinematography was great, and it was just fun to hear all the songs,
I think the acting and the cinematography are what really save it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing. You're right. It's very formulaic. It's very paint by numbers.
Yeah.
And it's the same version of the story that we've seen over and over again, and they kind of skip over the most interesting parts. Like you were saying earlier, the
scene where he's at the window and
Yeah.
he's like turning on the light, and he wants Mary to turn on the light because she lives right next door to him. And that symbolizes like their connection. That was beautiful.
Yeah, and those little moments kind of get lost in this sea of watching them record music, which I was less interested in as watching Freddie Mercury live his life. As interesting as it was seeing Queen be Queen, I wanted to see Freddie Mercury and what Freddie Mercury meant in the larger fabric of Queen. That was the story that I was more interested in watching. Also, it became very evident over the course of the film that bits and pieces of the editing scheme, especially, were from two different directors. So I found that interesting. That, like, there's these little bits of editing schemes that are definitely from two totally different movies. So I thought that was weird. But aside from that, I thought Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury was awesome.
He did a good job.
He was crazy. You believe him when he's on the screen. You believe him when he's on stage. You believe him when, he's sad in a room. You believe him at a party.
Those teeth, too.
Yeah, the teeth. You believe the extra teeth, the mustache, all of it. It's a really good movie. I definitely suggest everybody check it out. Also, for some of our staff picks, while I have you guys here, Rob, you suggest people watch Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix?
Yeah, so for all the anime fans out there, I don't know how many of them there are. I don't know. It was like a closet thing for so long, and now I feel like it's everyone. Now it's a cool thing. But yeah, so it really kind of season 2 got cut short on Netflix, and then we thought it was just gone, and then out of nowhere, season 3 showed up 2 years later. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think they kind of channel into kind of the Dragon Ball Z formula a little bit on the higher powered beings above everyone else, and only certain characters can do it, and we have to wait for them to show up, save the day.
Oh, okay.
Kind of the Goku model.
Okay.
But really, really good. It's probably the best thing since Dragon Ball Z, I think. And I watched a lot of anime in my day, so check it out. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Cool. Allie, you recommended something by an Arizona artist?
Yeah, there's this band from Scottsdale, I believe, called the Congos. And I got to see them. This sounds so lame to say this, but I got to see them before they got famous. But it's true. My friend was like, come see this band with me. They're really great.
Yeah.
And it was the Congos. And they're really, really good live. And their music's really great. And they released some new songs this year. So not only if you want to support local, but also if you just want to listen to some good music, their music's really great.
What's their hit song right now? Don't they have one?
Right now, well, they have their hit songs that they're probably known for is they have "Come With Me Now" and another song called "I'm Only Joking." And there's accordion in their songs too, which is really cool. Good rock vibes.
Cool. So definitely check those out. Also in culture, we have a little write up about Black Ops 4. If you guys want to check that out, next issue we'll have the reviews for the new Dragon Ball Z film and a review of Red Dead Redemption 2. So definitely check that out. What do we got in sports this week?
Sports. So I'll go over starting with football. Our quarterback that won Offensive Player of the Week has decided to sit the rest of the season out as he prepares for his career beyond MCC. And basically what's happened is our offense has just sputtered. Just almost dropped dead flat. So we lost our last 2 games to Glendale in our homecoming game, and then a big one against Scottsdale Community College. At this point, it looks like we're going to wrap up with our last game this upcoming Saturday, and that will probably be the last game of MCC Thunderbird football. Hopefully we can go out on top with a win, but it looks like we will not have the Valley of the Sun Bowl, which we've had the previous 2 seasons. And if we did go this year, we would have been one of only 3 teams to go 3 years in a row, but it looks like that will not happen. So support your MCC football.
Please.
Please, yes. And their last game is against Phoenix College, and it will be home. So let's send them out, guys, with something special. Let's all get out there and just appreciate what MCC has done for this community. It's had a big presence for a long, long time. And it's college football in Mesa, guys, so please support it. On an exciting note, though, basketball is starting up, which is great. So the men's basketball had their first game, which they won 78-73, led by 15 points by Jeff Perez. And so they're on a good start. And then the women's basketball team, they are not on such a good start. They were in a tournament over in Odessa, Texas, I believe, and they lost all 3 games to start their tournament, and they really weren't too close. So I know that they had high expectations for the season, and probably not the start they were anticipating, but it's still early, non-conference game, so we're still on the high hopes for that team. And then since the last podcast, soccer also was in playoffs, and they lost their game. So not a lot of positive news for sports.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
in the recent times, but there's a lot of high hope for the basketball team. In the newspaper, we have a story. The men's tennis team, and I shouldn't say just men's, the women's tennis team supporting as well. They're doing the Big Green movement. Really cool. Yuri Jacobs, a tennis player for the T-Birds from St. Paul, Brazil. And in Brazil, it's a big thing to keep their surrounding waters clean. So they reduced their plastics heavily. Came over here. We use a lot of plastic here in America. And straws, I don't know if people knew this, but straws are non-recyclable. And we use a lot of straws every day in America. So he's doing a big movement to try and reduce the use of straws. And so they're going to be doing some things around here at MCC. What they're really hoping for is everyone spread the word once they get kind of updated on some of the knowledge. Spread the word and try to make this a movement. Let's reduce the use of straws and really all plastics and just recycle more. But straws are a big one there. And then I wrote about homecoming. The title is Go Home, Thanks for Coming. I play on the words homecoming there. Disappointing game. We played a team that only had won 1 game, and we just sputtered the whole game. It really only got one true offensive touchdown. We got one off turnover where we drove it in the next play. And really the pageantry was not very great. I really had high hopes for this one, being that our last homecoming game ever for football at MCC, and I just feel like they didn't really do anything to recognize all the years that football has been here at MCC. So
that's disappointing.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, but who knows? I'm sure there's certain circumstances for that, But yeah, and that's all for sports.
All right. Well, make sure you guys get out on Saturday, support the last game for our football team, and look forward for our basketball games coming up. Those are really important. In features this week, we have a profile of an MCC artist, Jay Lopez. He's a Native American student who was born and raised in Guadalupe, and he was given the opportunity to do this big mural next to a hotel in Guadalupe. It's really awesome. We have some great pictures of it. He takes a lot of pride in his work, and he wants to show the new generation and the next generation just what they can do to affect their culture, and just trying to connect with the other generations using his native culture. So definitely check that out. It's a really cool profile. It's done by Sierra Lee Perez, who is our senior reporter. So it's definitely awesome. Check that out.
Can I just say what a good job Guadalupe is doing cleaning that little town up?
Yeah, they are. It gets nicer every single time.
Oh, man.
They're doing a great job with
It's
the
come a
art
long
projects.
way.
Yeah. This is going to sound weird and random, but by far prettiest bus stops in the state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a random thing to make note of, but they have gorgeous bus stops.
Yep.
So that's really cool. So you can drive down and check out an MCC artist's work, which I'm sure the MCC artist would appreciate too. If you're in Guadalupe, stop by, take a picture, check it out, or pick up a issue of the Mesa CC Legend. Check it out there. We also have a write-up on Dr. Faustus, our school play, done by Stephen Peck, our copy editor. And it's actually MCC's largest production. It has a 52 cast ensemble, 300 light cues, 140 sound cues, cap of $11,000 budget. Took 14 weeks to get it all done. It's a huge thing. So we have a write-up that Stephen Peck did about like how much work the theater department put into putting this play on. So definitely check that out. Give our theater department some love. And yeah, definitely pick that up. We also have a little MOS, a little man on the street, where we asked our students, are you voting in the 2018 midterm elections? And so we have some opinions from our editors as well as opinions from students that we picked on campus. And it's basically just talking about if they're voting, why they're voting, who they may be voting for, if they were comfortable talking about that. A surprising amount of people were. So definitely, if you're interested in that, pick that up. It's interesting to see how people on the campus may or may not reflect
Mostly Republicans.
It may not feel. Yeah, it's interesting to see which would you would think, because Arizona is a red state.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that the random sampling of people sometimes does match up with what you would expect of a place. And that's all we really have for features this issue. I did do a little opinions write-up of unrealistic realism in film and how that realism affects the way that we input content and what we find offensive. There's also an opinion by Janae Thompson about pro-choice and why it's important to acknowledge the rights and women's health in America, and an opinion by Stephen Peck about having millennials become too lazy. He doesn't think so, just to be clear. And he does invite your opinion for that article if you would like to watch. So that's all for opinions and features. Allie, what do we got going on in news this time?
For news, on our front page, we have two stories. We have a story by Faith Garland about the enrollment dropping in terms of DACA students. As some of you probably know, the Supreme Court ruled that in-state tuition will not be given to DACA students. Therefore, we're having a lot of dropouts because the tuition has gone from what was affordable to not so affordable. And since it was raised, that enrollment has dropped here on campus at MCC. A good thing that she highlights in there is a club on campus called MUST, M-U-S-T, and they are the Mesa Undocumented Students Thriving Club. So they're for undocumented students. It's a good place to go and talk if you want more information on this, or if you're an undocumented student and want to get some more information on anything you can do for your school. It's a good resource. Stephen Peck also wrote a story about the annual Hall of Fame, and it was on November 1st at the MCC Theater. Recognized 4 athletes, a staff member, there was a service award, and 4 alumni. Really, really great that we have that so that we can recognize people who've made contributions to society and to schools.
Random fun fact, one of the people
Yeah.
honored at that MCC Hall of Fame ceremony was one of my elementary school science teachers.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
swear. Very random. Mr. Sykes. Arlen Sykes is his name.
The service, which is the service award. He was awarded the service award.
Yeah, he got the service award
Phenomenal.
for the community service that he does. But he was also my science teacher in 4th or 5th grade. I can't recall. I do, if I seem to remember right, we made a car out of only recycled materials.
Which Rob would like.
The-
No
well,
straws.
for the tennis team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I support that.
Excellent. Well, I guess I don't know if this is a. I was gonna try to segue this, but probably wouldn't work. But we do. I mean, speaking of rights, I don't know, human rights. Does that work, you guys? We're gonna count that as a segue.
We're gonna
anyway.
count it as a
Sure,
segue.
why not?
We're getting better. We get better every time. Whatever.
We're trying. But Arizona was actually 3 cities in Arizona received a perfect score from the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. They were Tempe, Tucson, and Phoenix. So that basically means that no matter who you are, what you believe, what you subscribe to, anything, those are good places for you to go and good places for you to live. Pretty amazing that we got those awards, which is really awesome. Faith Garland wrote that story as well. We have another story by Janae Thompson, and it was about improperly trained advisors, mostly academic advisors. It's a big issue. This is an issue that is trying to be solved with the 2017 MCCCD Transformative Plan. Segue into that, actually, I did a story on the governing board candidates. 4 of them were talking at the school, and they talked about this issue as well. They were asked about the DACA students, what they could do, and they said, sorry, that's a Supreme Court decision. We have no say over that. But what the 4 candidates did agree on was bettering the school. A lot of them, actually all of them, didn't agree with certain decisions made by the current governing board, such as the decision to eliminate football, to eliminate meet and confer. And it's a good article if you are looking to just learn about people who are influencing your education and your life here on campus. Voting is coming up, after all.
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Or today.
Exactly. If you do an early ballot.
Today's not today. We're recording this one day before we will post it. So today is tomorrow.
Wow.
We're smart over here at the Mesa Legend.
I tried, guys. I tried.
Because, yeah, we recorded and then we put it up.
Yes, but voting is today.
Thank you,
Go
Margaret.
vote.
So vote. Do it now. You have no excuse. And then Tyler Ardile, I hope I'm saying his name right. He wrote about meet and confer. He wrote about that issue as well in the news section. We have another article by Damon Allred about NASA program that teamed up with MCC college students. They got to go to the NASA Center, and it was fun and lots of information, and they thought it was a really great experience. There's a lot of good quotes in there. And then we also had an article by Janae Thompson about MCC students combating domestic violence. You've probably seen the shirts on campus, a colorful row of shirts. That's all about domestic violence, which is this month a big topic. So we're trying to confront that issue and just have dialogue about it.
Yeah, and that's called the Clothesline Project, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, so we have write-ups on all of those things in the newest issue of the Mesa CC Legend, so please check that out. Also, one thing that didn't make the newspaper, if you're online and you go to mesalegend.com, you'll actually find news articles that aren't in our newspaper. So please check our social media sites, check our website, because we're constantly updating that and putting new articles on there. There's exclusive content. Exclusives. So definitely go check that out. It's pretty cool. So thanks for listening. I love you even though I've never met you. I'm Marcus Campbell.
Rob Steiner.
Allie Cripe.
Thanks for listening. Have a good one.